Lightwalkers.
Peace, man. We back.
Lightwalkers. Wednesday night.
Yes, sir.
Another tuned in adventure to the Lightwalkers. I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody getting on and share this with us. Check us out on YouTube. And all those other great things streaming across some platforms live tonight.
Yeah, man.
This is brought to you by Ancient Mystics All Natural Products. Make sure you get you some stuff like the mullein leaf. You must have the mullein leaf for the bronchitises and the asthmas and the mucus in the body. And this is number one for taking the mucus out of the body. If y'all want some of this, DM us and we get it out to you however we got to do it.
Yeah,
this
man.
is the mullein leaf. Pure 100% mullein leaf. 100%. You see, we picked this. See, one thing about the herbs you're going to get with us is we picked it. We know where it came from. Our prayers went into it. We didn't get it from China. All right? So this is the mullein leaf for your congestion. Your mucus can be made into a tea. This is enough to make I would say a 16-ounce or 32-ounce tea. That's a lot.
Make a nice size mason jar.
Yeah, big mason jar with some nice lemon in it. You know what I'm saying? Help break up that mucus and push it out.
Trust me, man.
Also, it's good to smoke.
I know you're a big
man. It's the mullein. The mullein smokes is everything. Yeah. It's a good smoke too. It's not harsh. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Don't burn your throat or nothing like that. Easy. It's totally legal. Okay, it don't get you high. No, it don't do none of that. But it give you a little.
True.
But it's good for smoking, for taking the mucus out the body too. This is a good product for that. Yeah, also, while I'm in the products, I'm gonna get into this mulberry leaf. Another one of them leaves. We in the harvest right now. This mulberry leaf is for my diabetes people, my people with them bad blood sugars. You know what I'm saying? It's the mulberry leaf, lower that A1C. Help fight back some of that. Get you on your feet. It's also good for colds and flu too, and it's an overall good immune system drink too. This is the mulberry leaf.
Man.
And last but not least, I must have that ancient mystic elixir, that tonic. This is 100%. This is our cough syrup. We like to call this our herbal tonic syrup. And this has got the mullein, the red clovers, hyssop, mints. It's just loaded with good stuff for the body. That goldenrod, which I'm picking a lot of right now, it's loaded with a lot of good stuff. Help keep your immune system. Elderberry from this season. I can name it's about 12 herbs in this. I always say don't put no lot of herbs and stuff because you're overdoing it. But I had to put them all in here this time because I wanted to make this super tonic. Like DM us, y'all.
Yeah.
DM us if you got problems, got other things. We're making it happen.
Good stuff.
This is also brought to you by Take Note Productions. Take your notes.
Get your notebooks, man.
Get your notebooks. Check it out. Check out what's going on. Before we get into what we're going to deal with tonight, let's go to our favorite subject. The big bubble of life that floats in the sky. We've been on that kick for about 2 months now, and it's been a ride. I learned a lot with it. The sun. Let's go to the sun, see what's happening.
Yeah, this has been
Chris Lang with his reports.
Every week, man.
Somebody said you need to be the weatherman.
They
said you need to be the weatherman.
I'm over here being a scientist for the peoples now, man. You understand?
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Definitely, man. It's the good knowledge, man. This is the stuff we need to be learning about. We live in such a time where everybody's minds are distracted, man, and they've lost touch with everything that's going around them, especially up in the sky, man. You understand?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Let's dive back into it once again, man. We here back. Today is inching closer to, what we call the fall equinox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're
next week, ain't it?
This Saturday, brethren. No, excuse me. Next Saturday.
Yeah. Next week. I know. Next week.
Yes, absolutely, man. And this is going to be an interesting time, man, because we're still climbing into the early reaches of what they call solar cycle 25. Man.
Solar cycle 25.
Yeah,
so futuristic.
You understand? It's something hectic, man. And this is going to be a really a really active time for the sun, and there's going to be a lot of X-class flares and solar flares in general being launched off the sun at the Earth, and we're going to be experiencing a lot of issues, man, with communications and such. And it doesn't help to say that the poles are at an uncertainty right now. There was a study that just came out recently that talked about the poles shifting within Earth. You know what I mean? And it hasn't happened in 780,000 years, which is a long time ago, Bridget. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's really sure when it's going to happen, but we can monitor this by checking out the Earth's magnetic field. And we got a couple of apps on here, that we'll bring in future lessons that that show these particular lines that are inching off of the Earth and such like that, and we can keep track of those. And when they start to weaken in certain places, the radiation levels start to increase on Earth. So they sell little meters like geiger-meters or something, you know what I mean? And these measure the radiation levels at ground level, and they're just handheld devices. And if you measure it at high noon, you could test how much radiation is here on the planet Earth or wherever you're at on the planet Earth, because there's different parts on the Earth where the ozone layer is weaker, so more radiation comes through.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we got these meters that could check the differences in radiation at ground level. And when it starts to get really high, which it hasn't in years, man, and over 50 plus years, we haven't seen any shifts since like the Cold War and such. But once that starts to shift, then we know that the Earth's core is really unstable, and they say that it stops spinning. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And since it has stopped spinning, this is causing the poles to become uncertain, and they might have that boomerang effect, like the rubber band effect is what they call it, because it'll spring like a rubber band, and south will go north, and north will go south, and all the grid will shut off then. So we have to keep an eye on the sun, and that's why we're monitoring that closely over the next couple of years here into the peak year, which is supposed to be 2025, when the solar cycle 25 is going to peak. You know what I mean? So we're still in the early years of this particular cycle, and we just need to monitor her because she's becoming really active, and it's going to start affecting us in different ways. And we can also notice how it affects people too, because our bodies are in tune with the Schumann resonance. We spoke about that last week. It's the particular resonance of the planet Earth, which is 7.83 hertz, and our brains resonate at the same particular wavelength. So if it's vibrating at that same frequency, and we got all these interactions with these solar flares over the next 2 or 3 years or so, we're really going to start to see a change in the people if we don't see it already. But a lot of people are sensitive to it, man, and I think people just are out of tune. But you can actually feel the sudden changes in the Schumann resonance, and over the past 48 hours it spiked quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? So it's very busy times right now, man. Lots of lessons here in the weeks to come, man. We're just giving a quick overview of some things, but nonetheless, we're checking out the sun right now from the LASCO C2 and C3 satellites facing out there on the Earth's facing side of the sun. And over the past couple of weeks, it hasn't been really too active with sunspots and such. But we see, some more active reasons in solar flares and CMEs coming off of the sun and such as these past few days have progressed. So we just had two big M-class flares that launched off toward the sun as of recent, in the past 48 hours. And we had a couple of radio blackouts over the Pacific. So like when that happens, airplanes, are lost if they're flying over the Pacific, because radars are shut down and GPSs are malfunctioned and shut down over the Pacific Ocean and such, and maybe somewhere else on the planet as well. And like I said, we just got to be mindful of these things. It's a way of us to become more in tune. So we're going to continue to monitor the sun as the weeks progress here, man. But like I said, we're at a really active time right now, and we should just be mindful when these M-class and X-class flares are launched off the sun, hitting Earth, because they have a profound effect on our psyche, man. And you probably see, days where the crime is higher, or the people are acting a little more crazy, or just a lot of things are heightened in general because people's, are a little more emotional when it comes to, the sun launching off these flares and them interacting with the planet Earth. So it's pretty interesting, man. This right here is just another look of the sun with a filter placed in front of the sun. And this is from the LASCO C2 on the left and the LASCO C3 on the right. You know what I'm saying? And we could see some of the discharges coming off of the sun as well. It gives us a better look at when these flares are coming off. You can see at about the 7 o'clock position, there was a big explosion and a discharge coming off of the sun. That's a solar flare or a coronal mass ejection. Somewhere on the right side, you can see some firing off the back side of the sun as well. But nonetheless, she's been a little more active this past week. So, we're going to monitor the weeks to come and see, how much more activity we get. Yeah, man, it's lots of information when it comes to these particular satellites right here. I'm putting it out there in full blast. So yeah, man, that was our little sun lesson for the day, man. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the planet Earth here, man, and see what's going on weather-wise, because we got a really active time out there in the Atlantic Ocean with the big Hurricane Lee coming up. You know what I mean? I've been having a little issues with bringing this up, but let me see if I could get this going here. Try to get it over the past 24. Yeah, so we see out there, man, down at about the 5 o'clock position, the big Hurricane Lee that's turning up. That's a massive hurricane too, if I ever seen one. And it's a Category 5 right now. She's aiming at the East Coast, but her path is projected to go a little bit further up toward like Maine and Nova Scotia and stuff like that. So, a lot of storm surge is going to come with this. We need to keep an eye on the moon phases right now. I think we're going into like new moon phase or something. We just had a full moon recently, so we're going into new moon. So the tides won't be as strong on this one. So, I don't think we got much to worry about, but nonetheless, anybody on the East Coast, riding along that coastline, man, be mindful of that particular storm coming up because she's going to be a big one, even if she don't make landfall. Yeah, little malfunctions out here tonight. And the last piece we're going to talk on here, man, is about, the planetary alignments, man. And we always talk about when we look at each individual planet, we have a lot of different atmospheres, and the gravitational pull on each planet is different. And when certain planets line up, they have a strong effect. And I don't know if it increases like the way people think, or if it opens up like certain energy portals on the planet and such like that. But we always see a lot of rituals and stuff like that, especially in this particular time of September, which is the month of what they call Yom Kippur. You ever heard that Jewish holiday? Yep. And this is also like the harvest time for many cultures, like the Druid cultures and such. You know what I mean? And they were very, overstanding when it comes to these certain days and what planets are going to be lined up on these certain days. And a lot of events are coordinated, through different governments or different, shadow agencies and such, based upon these planetary alignments and the numerology that correlates with them. You know what I mean? Because all these things are intercombined through frequency and vibration. Energy and vibration. So it's a very interesting thing to think about. This particular month is the planetary alignments. We just had recently, I think, what was it, the end of August, when we had the full moon, that full super blue moon.
Mm-hmm.
We had that recently. And on that particular day, man, I'm going to go ahead and take us back there, man. I think it was August 31st and 30th. Okay, so if we look down here at the Earth, where my mouse cursor is, we see Mercury and Venus, but we see the Earth, which is the round blue circle right here. And we draw the straight line from her to the sun. And then we also see the moon right next to her. And then we also see right below her the planet Saturn, and I think it's its moon. I don't remember the name of the Saturn's moon right off the top of my head, but that moon was also on like the backside of Saturn. So everything was in a straight line. If you draw a straight line from Saturn all the way to the sun, you'll see all these planets are lined up. And within the 30th of August and the 31st of August, when that full moon came around and such like that, there was a lot of energy that was directed toward the planet. And if we look back in history and we see, different wars that have occurred on certain days when the planetary alignments were lined up, planets like Mars and Saturn, when these particular planets were lined up, it's interesting to think about, because the planet Mars is like, it represents what? The god of war.
That's right.
And Saturn represents Satan, man. You know what I mean? And when these things are lined up, we see all of these wars, at their height going on, like World War I and World War II. I think the Vietnam War was the same way, man, with certain planets lining up like so. So these are very interesting things to understand and know about. Like I said, we never look up at the sky no more. We don't ever track the planets. I know it's kind of difficult in certain locations with all of the light pollution and such, but we still got to find time to look up at the solar, man, and let the mind open up, because there's a lot of things going on that's under the table, that's not seen, by the naked eye, and we are just out of tune with a lot of stuff because of the frequencies pumped around the planet through the radio towers, the cell phones, computers, man, GPS, sonar and such, man. So, we really out of tune when it comes to that. So we got to do our due diligence, man, and, knock each other upside the head, man, when it comes to some knowledge like this, man, and get us back to thinking the proper way. So nonetheless, man, that's the last piece we're gonna touch on for this evening time when it comes to our daily adventure through the cosmos and on the planet Earth, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, give thanks, man, and as always, tune in on the Wednesdays, man, for your dose of cosmic knowledge, man. You understand knowledge of the solars, man, and of the planet and such, man. And go back and check out past episodes. And we call it Taking Notes Production. So make sure you bring your notebooks, man, and do the knowledge, man, with us, man, and take it even further than we are with it already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Serious thing, brother.
Lightwalkers. Before we get into tonight, we already into it, but before we dive deep, I like to say this, a couple of things. First thing is, we're streaming live across platforms. We can't give you everything. We can't say everything. Certain restrictions due to certain platforms. We have to follow those restrictions in order for us to still remain to do this. You know how they got it. This they thing. So we got to deal with it. That's why we call take notes. We want you to get the information and take the information back and study the information and further the information and teach somebody else the information and share this. Please share this. Yeah, man, that's the first thing. Second thing is this. Tonight's conversation, we're gonna start it off like we was doing last week. Last week, AI, artificial intelligence, not being a robot, not being technology, but the artificial intelligence that's being pumped into humankind. I'm a big YouTube man. So I scroll the tube. I scroll the tube looking for stuff, and what I see is terrible. I see. First of all, I'm gonna start by jumping in on this 50th anniversary of hip hop thing.
Most definitely.
All right. Yeah, I love what y'all doing, LL Cool J and everybody, and y'all getting down. I love it. I love it. It's nice. It's nice to see the old school or the true school out doing their thing. Most and representing and showing people how it's done. But I'm gonna say this. There is no hip hop, culture of hip hop, without Afrika Bambaataa in it. I know. I've heard the rumors. I've heard the allegations. True. I don't know him for none of that.
Most definitely.
I know Bambaataa. I know Bambaataa, the master of records. I know Bambaataa that spin the music. I don't know all that other stuff. Nor do I care to know it.
True.
Because it sounds terrible. But, in fact, you cannot erase him out of history. This is a form of artificial intelligence. If we sit back and let these people rewrite the history of a culture, they're going to artificially inseminate. A good word?
Yeah, that's a strong word.
Artificially inseminate false culture into the culture. This is why it looks the way it looks right now. Everybody say this is hip hop. No, it's just the streets.
Yeah, straight up, man.
Or in the words of one of my great friends, the streets. That's what it is. The hip hop, the culture. I ain't talking about no rapping, recording artists pretending. I ain't talking about the MCs, and this will get me with the 50 years of hip hop. They're only focusing in on rapping. But MCing wasn't the first element of hip hop.
You understand?
The DJ and the B-boys were. The B-boys were the breakers and the street dancers and the gangbangers who turned into the breakers and the street dancers, who was able to move around to other neighborhoods as the breakers and the street dancers. When eventually, before that, they couldn't because they was the gangbangers and the hoodlums, so-called. It was Bambaataa, Africa Bambaataa, who brought the elements of the culture together to even give it a format, who provided security through the organization that later became the Almighty Zulu Nation for you to even have the party. It was Africa Bambaataa and the Universal Zulu Nation that took hip-hop all over the world, that even gave LA its roots in hip-hop. Who say it ain't? Who say I'm wrong? Who want to dispute me? I'm authentic. Lord Cassius D is authentic. And it's so funny that I heard an argument one time, I think it was Fat Joe or somebody, and they was talking about hip-hop, and they said the Puerto Ricans were at the start of hip-hop, helped start hip-hop. They did. When you want to talk about a culture, they did. Rocksteady Crew, I'm talking before Crazy Legs. The original Rocksteady Crew. Those that just rock steady. That was a whole movement.
Wow.
I like to say they took it to the floor. Blacks had, we took it to the floor too. We had the James Brown move, spin around in the split and dive on your hands like that. But they came and added another flair to it. We had the Sammy Davis move where you chuckle your feet like this that we've been doing since the 1900s and in churches and black dancing. But they had a spin that went with it that came from Capoeira and other Brazilian and island arts and South American arts and African arts. Now, that's a whole conversation because that became what you call breaking. And it was we ordered y'all to dance, meaning instead of fighting, before there was a up rock that you see the B-boys do before they get down on the floor, it was called top rocking because it looked like fighting. It was the Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. Now, I know some of y'all say, how you going to say, I'm going to say his name. Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation.
You can't leave it up.
You can't leave that out. Are y'all gonna have a whole celebration in the South Bronx in Yankee Stadium without the Zulu Nation? How you gonna get on stage and you don't play Planet Rock? See, this is a culture that is AI to me. Now, a lot of people don't like what I say because they say, oh, he did this and he did that, the children and all that. I haven't seen it. I've heard it all. I know him very well. I've never seen that in my life. I know the music. I know the community building that goes with it. Because Zulu Nation is all over the world.
Yeah, most definitely.
We all over the world, y'all.
Nationwide.
We all over the world. We're the biggest youth-based organization on the planet, so-called Earth. And everywhere you go, there's Zulu exists. Communities exist. Schools exist. Elevation and education, we call it edutainment, exists. And it's through the fundamental culture of those elements of hip-hop. Those 4 elements and the 5th one that I brought to it, which is knowledge, culture, and overstanding. Now, who say it ain't? Who disputes it? Get up with me. It's Lord Cassius D. If you dispute it, get up with me. I'm here to take on all questions and answer anything you want me to answer. And it seems like they've rewrote the culture. Now, I'm bringing this up because in this culture, in the beginning of it, it was gangs. It was so-called street gangs, not organizations like Chicago. Chicago was always kind of organized crime type thing. It was based off of that kind of concept. The gangs in New York was the gangs in New York. And these gangs got together. And this is what started formulating the culture of hip-hop. Because a lot of them before that tagged gang names. They tagged gang signs and gang names on buildings, walls, and subways. As the spirit of the music entered and the culture, they started now burning pieces. Now, don't get me wrong, there were people that burned pieces before, but now here came a new surgency of burning pieces. We're talking about 1970s. When I say burners, those were those big old pretty pieces of art that was on the train and on the walls. Really? And when you watch the movie Beach Street, that's based off that character Raymond. All you do is look at the art, the trains, and the white trains that used to come by. They used to chase them and paint them. You know what I'm saying? With these big, beautiful murals in the middle of broken glass everywhere.
Straight up, man.
All right? This was due to young people that were involved in the so-called gangs. The culture taught knowledge of self. When they would have them parties in the South Bronx, especially the Zulus, which everybody came to the party. Don't act like y'all didn't. See? And when they came to the party might stop and they might do the knowledge. It was always taught knowledge of self. We're talking about and Dr. King was assassinated in 1968. By 1974, we were in the culture. How many years is that?
68 to 74?
Yep.
6 years, brother.
6 years. 6 years outside of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Wow. That
means his legacy was still around. The Panthers were still around. They got this narrative that hip-hop started August 11th, 1974.
Who said that?
74. That's the new narrative. That's the day they say Kool Herc threw the party up on 15th Cedric Avenue. And that's when hip-hop was began. That's when they say hip-hop began. Whatever that is, cut it off. That's when they say hip-hop began. Sorry about that, y'all. That's when they said hip-hop began. And we know the date of hip-hop beginning is November 12th, 1964. The day the Zulu Nation began. And it's 50 years of the Zulu Nation and 49 years of hip-hop. See, this is the narrative they rewriting, so that's why the Zulus ain't mentioned. Because if you mention the gangs in there and the reforming of the gangs through spirit, through a culture, you start getting into a deeper feel of the hip-hop. It gets into almost the back of right out of civil rights now. But instead of having that point and where we can go with it and people can see it so we can fix the problem now, we get the false narrative. Because of some things they said about Bam, and it erases the glue to the culture.
That's wild, man. There's got to be some type of significance. The people who plotted that that shit right there, man. You know what I mean? There's got to be significance about that coming in line with the 50 years of the existence, man. You
It's
know?
AI, artificial intelligence.
Wow.
And the sad part is, I don't get how they got all the artists to go with that, especially original guys. I love Grandmaster Cass. That's my man, GMC. That's my man. Hey, he listening to me right now. It's Cassius D talking. My man. You know what I mean? You do it. I love you. But I don't hear y'all talk like that. And y'all were there. Y'all from that. You from Bronx River.
Damn, brother.
Now, see, I'm from Chicago. So I can tell the Chicago story. But I also can tell the New York story because I'm got roots there too.
True. Wow.
You see? And I don't see y'all talk like that.
Why is that, man? That's I think that's the ultimate question right there, you know?
You know, when the Bambaataa scandal jumped down, that's what I like to call it. When the Bambaataa scandal jumped down, there was a brother that stood up, Zulu King in New York. His name is Ship, Brother Ship. And he said, that's a conspiracy. I felt there was something there, but there was something wrong with it because I was in the inside of it and I saw it. I saw what was going on. I saw the I like to call it the devils. To stop the gangs, the gang code. And it's so funny, man. It's stripped out because when all that took place in 2016, you know, I really never talk about this. Sure. But we're on Lightwalkers and we walk in the light, so I'm going to share it with y'all tonight. In 2016, after we came back from Colombia, from Bogota and Medellin, Colombia.
I seen that video on YouTube, man.
From talking, yeah. We were invited to go over there, myself, Africa Bambaataa, and King Kamazi. We went over there to talk with the government and the university about the culture of hip-hop and how it has changed the landscape of youth in Colombia. And these kids were building schools, man. They were doing it. I'm talking about young people doing it. And they had kind of broke up the gang problem over there and it solved some issues. And they had a breakdancing contest that had 50,000 people at it, man. They had $1 million stage, $1 million worth of lights. That was nice.
Wow. That's tripped up.
When we came back, we were working on a thing called the Peace Code. The Peace Code, legendary King Kamazi had a vision, and he went to work. And I remember him calling me and him sitting down. We're talking over the phone for hours about the magic symbols of the Peace Code and what the turtle meant and this, that, and the science that we were putting together and how to launch it through the music and the culture.
Wow.
And we had planned this tour to take it around to all the Zulus and start implanting it into the Zulu nation for each city. The first city was Chicago because Chicago had a problem and it still has.
Sure, you're right.
And we saw it and we knew how to help it. We gathered all the so-called streets together, both the 6 and the 5. We're going to sit down and go over how this was formed in the 1970s to what we can do with it now in the era we're in, how to launch the power. And here came all this mess right at that time. And it's so funny because we were on the brink of coming into what they call the 50th millennium. And now you don't hear nothing about Africa Bambaataa. And to all my Zulus out there, peace and love to y'all, man. My peace to my Malikas, my Akis, my kings and my queens. Peace to y'all. It's the Lord. You know, long live, Z's up.
Yeah, man.
But these were the vanguards of the culture. So now all the accolades go to Kool Herc. I love Kool Herc. Kool Herc's my brother, and he's considered the father of the music, but not the father of the culture. The godfather of the culture is Africa Bambaataa. And I don't care what you say he did.
Yeah.
You can't write that out of history. You can't. You can't. And look at hip hop today. Look at the evil in it today.
Straight up, it's terrible, man.
Look how evil it is. You know, I was watching the thing today, which brought me into this. You know, I was looking at the Tupac Biggie thing, and I'm following all the corruption, how they did Pac, man, was so spooky. The players in the game and who they were connected to, the David Kenners and the different people who they were connected to. It was just, man, it was mind blowing. Like and we as a people, we have a veil over our eyes spiritually for these demons. All those so-called drug lords that you hear about, those are demons, man.
Straight up.
If you think about it, we fall in the dehumanized spell of it by looking at the money, how much money they making. Ooh, he got it. Ooh, they got it. But those drug lords are demons. From the ones that pick it over in the jungle to the ones that sell it on the streets, they co-host the demon.
Man, it's wicked, brother.
It is so funny how in modern day culture, this is high level. These are the role models.
Yeah, man.
These became our role models. And these demons over there in them forests and jungles that then took this nature-made coca leaf and poppy seeds, and they didn't produce this poison.
Straight up, man.
And they didn't spread this poison through us, through that and frequency, through that and the music. And I tell y'all all the time, take no productions. All wars are fought with frequencies, not just with weapons.
Wow.
They fought with frequencies. Songs, music. They've always studied our music. And they've always looked for the high pitch in the music. The one, that pitch that will open that vortex for that chosen one to step forward.
Straight up, man.
And lead the people.
They call that stuff right there infrasound, or ultra low frequencies. You understand? And that's the sounds that you can't hear that are below below 20 decibels or below 10 decibels.
Yeah, they was afraid of Pac. Pac was able to reach both neurological tracts in the brain of the thug and the conscious person. Imagine he could bring that together. Wow. See, now their power would be stricken. They'd be out of power. So they had to take him out. So I was watching all this, and I watch how they format this for us today.
Yeah. That's strange like that, man.
And let's see, y'all. This is some of y'all, because I got a few people angry with me. And I'm going to speak on that, too. Like, this goes with that.
Yeah.
I got a couple of people that are angry with me because they say I won't help them with their rap career. First of all, I ain't into rap. That's a recording artist pretending. Second of all, you're supposed to help yourself. It's your career, your grind, not mine. Third of all, if you don't walk in the light and you're not willing to walk in the instructions of the light, I can't help you no way. I know who we messing with. I know who the dark force is. I know the forces. So I can't help you anyway if you're not willing to walk in the light. And in order to walk in the light, you have to get a grip on your mind, body, and your spirit and pull your emotions together. And until you can learn that, this goes to all my artists out there. Nobody can help you. You're trapped in a science and a false narrative, in a false culture that they're calling hip-hop, and it's not hip-hop. Because true school hip-hop practices elements. And in each element is lessons. And in each element is fun. And each element represents the joy of it. Each element has colors. Each element has style. And when you put all these things out and project them into community, you bring a universal harmony amongst young people. Not rap. Rap is recording artists pretending because it's controlled. And until you know this, and you know who you're dealing with, and what you up against, nobody can help you. Nah, you gotta be mad at me. Because I know what's going on. So we gotta do something better. And the evil tensions of what you see in the music right now. Look at it. Look at the images. This is AI, artificial intelligence.
All right, so so let's transition and go towards that here, man. Let's talk about the MTV movie music awards that we just seen the other day, recently, man. You know what I mean? There was a lot of symbolic gestures and and imagery in the backgrounds and amongst the peoples and such, man. And one in particular, man, was that that lady they called Doja Cat or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's all of a sudden become like this big media figure and such, man, because she like I don't know, talking trash to people and such. It's crazy. It's crazy the stuff that they do to catch people's attention. I have to put it out there, man.
You're in the time of views and likes.
You understand? It's something serious. But nonetheless, man, they had that performance out there, and she was in some type of suit or something like that, and then she had all like these ladies draped in blood, man. You know what I mean? And they was all dancing around her and such like that, man. And she even had one song on. I mean, the two songs leading up to it was talking about, once again, drugs and the image of the harlot and such, you know what I mean? And all this stuff was incorporated in that and all this. And then on the third one, the song called Demons, she started talking about like all the stuff that we be speaking about every week, man. The things that take on this demonic perception, all this materialistic things, you know what I mean? Like the cars that everybody's spending much money on and such right now. And
that's the way it's programmed. This is why I said if you rewrite the culture, then you'll rewrite the narrative of the culture, and you'll take the fun out of it and add more of the streets into it. And in 100 years, the fun will not exist anymore. The culture will be born off gangsterism. Pop culture is dead. When rap music took over, you notice I didn't say hip hop took over. When rap music took over, rap music swallowed out all music. The spirit of it was so big, and its ancient production was so incredible. The way they were sampling and doing the thing, the way creating the music like that, it swallowed up country. It swallowed up disco, pop. It just swallowed up everybody was doing that. Randy Travis and I think him and Lil Wayne, it was all kind of country people. Everybody just jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody want to make a rap song with a rapper. Matter of fact, they promoted it so heavy that rap became a profession for young boys in the ghetto. That's all you hear. He's an inspiring rapper. He was known as one of the up and coming rapper, like a basketball player or something. And then when you go to what they rapping about, they're not rapping about what go on, the ills of it, and how they need to get out. They're actually rapping about the death of themselves. They're wishing upon the angel of death. The guns in the video, the drugs, they fighting the ops. They're not fighting the enemy, they're fighting the ops. And it's all programmed like this. It's programmed.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We always making excuses to back up all of the wickedry. You know what
That's
I mean?
the problem.
We always making up excuses saying, oh, they're doing that because that's the environment that we coming from.
That's the problem.
He could do that because he's just being an entertainer and telling a story, and he ain't really doing that stuff. But are we not in tune to what's going on to the people from listening to that, man?
See, here's the thing: the artificial intelligence. See, those that can hear that and frequentize with that. That's a safe word to use. Frequentize.
That's futuristic, man.
That frequentize with this. Match it. They're engulfed in it. Now, it's easy for us to stand on the outside and eat from it. Meaning, we got jobs made off of it. We got jobs at the hospital made off of it. We got jobs at the funeral home made off of it. We got jobs at the jailhouses made off of it. We got jobs at the lawyers made off of it. We got jobs at the bulletproof vests and the guns and the bullets are made off of. We got jobs at everything is made from that. So that's one way to say it. It's easy to say, well, they got their day and this, that, and the other. The second thing is most people that talk like that are not plugged into it.
What you mean?
They're not fully plugged into the frequentization. The frequentization is for a generation. That's like me. I hear it. I don't know what to make of some of it. Not even the music sometimes because it's not my frequency.
True.
It's just not.
Wow, that's deep. I never look at it in perspective like
it's
that.
Not my frequency.
Wow.
That's not my frequency, so it's hard for me to get into it. And when I see older people moving to it like that, they know that's not their frequency. They're just trying to act like they're young. Because if you move into that and it's saying bag that shit up, put your ass in the air, get naked, and all that, and you 50 years old, come on, man, you know better than that.
Yeah, that don't matter. Generationally, that does not match.
It does not match. And that music is being programmed for younger kids.
Straight up.
See, NBA Youngboy and all of them, that's programmed for young kids. Who buys NBA Youngboy's music? Let's look at the demographic. Anybody over 25 years old buying that is an idiot. Or just ain't grow up yet. I'm going to say that. I ain't afraid of nobody. I don't care what y'all say. Come check me. And all y'all that don't like it, your evil powers and your forces and your magic and all that don't work on the eye. The eye comes from the Most High. I'm a Zulu. You see, I carry shield and spear. Shield is shield against the evil and the wicked ones. Spear for the confrontation. I'm blessed by the Most High, so your magic don't work. Your candles don't work. Your love spells, all of that. It don't work on the Lord. Mind that, I'm a light walker. So I say what I say. Those younger children are programmed to that. 25 down to 10. I used to say 12, 10. And the 9-year-old sucking it up too, and some of the other ones. But the 10-year-old is able to frequentize in that. And that music is messing with them. That music is influential on them. You give them 4 years of that. By the time they're 14 and see where their mind is at.
That's how they create artificial beings, man. You know, we touched on it last week. You know, speaking of all that, I want to just chime in with this little piece too, because I happened to see this when I was scrolling around on the internet a little earlier. But at the San Diego Chargers game on Sunday, you know, have you ever seen previews for that new movie coming out called The Creator?
Yeah.
So they had these AI robots in the crowd with Chargers jerseys on and faces on and such, man.
Yeah.
And these things look so real the way they was moving around. I'm not saying that they was out there talking and such because I don't know that, but the way that they looked and, you know, they was just looked like a fan in the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was tripped out, except for they just had, you know, they didn't have no ears and such, you know?
Now,
but it's tripped out, man.
Now, this artificial intelligence, that's being pumped in these young people through this. If you got 4 years from 10 to 14, where do you think that child's mind going to be at?
In the gutter.
Murder, kill, death. You
That
see?
ain't no lie.
And this is what's happening.
You see most of the youth on the block like that, man.
Yep. And this is fuel for the monster. And we're looking at it and acting like we don't see it because we're caught in the glorification of it.
That's crazy.
They're frequentized and we're glorifying it.
Yeah.
We're saying that those are the stars. You know, all the hip hop that goes on, so-called hip hop artists, all the great ones, I never hear them. Only one I've ever heard say something like that is Melly Mel.
True.
Even though he did, I went away with doing Eminem with that dollar, that was whack. But when he said it one time, how they just misusing the culture. Common said, "I used to love her. I used to love her." This is something they're glorifying this. They're glorifying the worst in us. I like to call it the promotion, the dedicated promotion of Black death. Is it good for me to say that like that?
Yeah, that's heavy, man.
The dedicated promotion of Black death. That's what's happening. Yeah, everybody is so out of tune spiritually. That Bible that everybody read, they don't read, they go by. There's a passage in there. I forget what book that is. I want to say is, I don't know if it's Revelation, says, the great serpent, for he shall deceive the whole world.
Revelations, my brother.
The great serpent, for he shall deceive the whole world. And that's what you see right now. Everybody's a blind eye. You never hear people talk about how they can fix the problem. It's always they beg it, and it's terrible, and nobody fix nothing. You got a bunch of people that talk all this knowledge, but they have no solution to nothing.
There's so much magic that's pumped behind all of this stuff, that works behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I was just thinking about that when you talk about the serpent being the image know, of deception like that.
They're dark forces.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that a lot with a lot of people who make it big in the music industry and in the rap career. They always have like a video with a big anaconda or a python. Or something,
it's always a symbology of it.
Crazy.
Just like using somebody Doja Cat.
Yeah.
For her to be on there and have a big performance like that, she has circular allegiance of that. She has frequentized into that allegiance.
It's a ritual like so, man.
Yes, it is.
You know?
And there are dark forces. And those dark forces' agenda is for the fall of mankind. Now, some people say, you talking like a Christian, Cash. No, I'm talking like somebody that knows something.
Straight up.
Ain't got nothing to do with no religion.
Nah, man, universal.
I see it. I'm a seer. I'm a light walker. I'm a seer. This is for the downfall of humanity, to take my humanity in its lowest form. And he shall deceive the whole world. And you seeing it. And when you talk like us, you become those who were ousted, who were crucified for what they say and what they believe or what they acknowledge.
It's been going on since the times of Christ, man, since the crucifixion. You know? And each Christ that is manifested in physical form and through another body on this planet throughout many lifetimes, they've all suffered the same fate.
That's right. And there are those that warriors on the planet that come to fight it.
Straight up, man.
And it's a lot of them. A lot of us. And some of us, you better not be messing with. Some of us, you better not play with. Especially those that are divinely ordained to do it. You better not mess with them. You have no win.
Straight up, brother.
You have no win at all. Who job bless, let no man curse, or you find yourself off the worst. My enemies scatter.
Watch out.
And we have to come up with some solutions to this now. And this is why I say the Zulu nation is left out. This is why I say in that numerological divine time they did this with Bambata to push away that part of the history of the culture. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said a people without a history is like a tree without roots. And if we have no true history of what brought hip-hop together, how the streets came together, not how they were tore apart. Because right now they tore apart. How they came together to create the music and the culture.
Yeah, man.
And promote peace, unity, and love, and having fun. That was hip-hop's model. And that come from the almighty Zulu nation.
And ain't nobody practicing that, man. That is totally.
That's why you don't see it. That's just my take on that. It ain't got nothing to do with what they saying about Bam, because you could push him out the way as one man, but the Zulus and all those that put in work, from the Donald D's to the Africa Islams to the, I can go down the line.
Sure enough.
I can go down the line. Who were the contributors to this global culture? From out of New York City, out of that Bronx River, out of Little Vietnam, the home of God, like they call it. You see, they want to stop that. That's why, even with the Zulu Nation, when we talk, I heard one time, because we into this, show you how the forces work. Yeah. I heard one time them say, well, the Zulu Nation is an occult.
I heard it was a cult. I heard it was a gang. I heard everything but an organization.
Listen, man, the occult part, they talking about me. They're not talking about nobody else but me and a couple other brothers. And we wasn't doing no occult. We pour libations to our ancestors for our African roots. I don't care what you say, that's what we do. You don't do it because you don't honor your ancestors. And now that you don't honor your ancestors, look at your life. Look at your neighborhoods. Look at your nation, your communities. Look at it because you have disrespected your ancestors, and I don't believe in that. I don't acknowledge that. So we pour libations. So if that's occultic to you, then we are an occult.
That's right, man.
We are universal. We are taught to be universal as the Zulu nation. We're not taught to be one value religion. We're not Muslims. We're not Christians. We're not Buddhists. We're all of those things. We're universal. Our logos and things are universal. Yeah, the black man might have created it, but the spirit of it was for the world, for humanity. For the one race, the human race. Now you take the power out of that and put it back into each and every race and give them racial pride and teach the young people how to develop their own culture and have idealism. Then you talking about hip-hop, Kumumba, creativity, Nia, a purpose, Imani being our faith. And that brings us to our top, Umoja. We all be in unity. And they erase that because they don't want you to know that value system. They don't want you to know how that was built because they need the narrative to go the way it's going. And I'm saying this. I don't pull no punches on none of this because this is artificial intelligence. This is somebody artificially inseminating a diverted culture to you.
Yeah, man.
You see? And at the top of the culture, it's sweet at the bottom till you get to the top and it look like shit.
Say it, my brother. That's how it be.
We have to look at these things like that. We have to look at the movies. We have to look at how they rewrite our history. How they have us in a turmoil running around here talking about we were Indians and especially black people. We're all Indians and we were already here. Prove it. Prove your family was already here. Don't tell me about no everybody. Tell me about y'all. And in that, we disrespect the ancestors. We disrespect the bloodline that came out of the motherland, stolen, and taken all to the four corners of the earth, and dropped off here in Americas and bred into captivity. We disrespected the ancestors with this foolish talk and knowledge that we say we got. It's all AI, artificial intelligence. Like I said, don't mean this about no technology and robots and cyborgs. It means what they have programmed into your psyche, into your mind, into your heart. The I-man concept, the separation of people through what they call social distancing. They gave it a word, but it was already in play because they removed the duality of people getting together. Two or more gathered in the name. Now it's just an I concept, me, I. That's why you don't see no more artists and groups like that. Groups brought on many spirits that came together to divine into one spirit, to harmonize in that frequency in one spirit. And all the ideals of all those in the group were expressed. This is what made the song good. Now it's this one individual who don't know Jack, who programmed and just by what he see and what he told to say and what he think he is, because of the handlers that handle him are evil. Yeah, I said it. This is artificial intelligence. What you think? Am I wrong?
No, that's deep.
Am I wrong, Lightwalkers? Am I wrong? And look at what we have today. Like I said, women fought so hard in the 90s for the rights in hip-hop. And now that they got it, look what they're doing with it. And like you said, people will jump up in a minute and say, well, she had the right to do it now.
Yeah, brother.
But look at your little daughter watching it.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Look at your little niece watching it.
And they got an excuse
your
for that
grandbaby
too.
watching it. What's the excuse?
Oh, she's just having fun. She's a little kid. She don't know what's going on.
How come she don't? You think them little children stupid?
Come on, man. They forgetting what age these youth being born up in.
You're right. They're in the technology age. They're in the age of enlightenment. They say stuff you don't even know how to say.
Straight up, man.
So you think she's stupid? You think them little kids they don't have it all? They program at an early age to do computers. Wouldn't they be programming at an early age to know what twerking is? Wouldn't they be programming at an early age to know what a gun is and how to shoot and what to do?
Come on, man.
We think our children are lame. This is artificial intelligence. This is the veil. This is the 85% that will be led to the slaughter. We try to stay as Lightwalkers in the 5%. We don't want to be in the 10% of the bloodsuckers of the poor. We want to be in the 5%. Now I guess they're gonna call us an occult now.
That's usually what happens in the realm of the 5%.
Damn, they call the Zulus a cult. I created a lot of that stuff. Man, I'm gonna create a lot of that stuff. I've been creating the Zulu Nation stuff and meeting other minds since 1995.
Well, if we do the knowledge, man, you know the word occult means secret, man. You know what I mean? So
come on.
I guess we keep it under the table, man. You know what I mean?
It means a culture. I brought in the libations. I'm the one that had people up there speaking in tongues, and we weren't trying to do nothing. We were trying to celebrate everybody's culture in one room. I heard somebody saying we work for Satan. I almost choked on my sandwich. I was watching TV, had this minister on there. He said they work for the devil. I was spit up my whole sandwich. I said, oh, no, they talking about me. They talking about me.
It's wild, man. You know what I mean?
I'm the spiritual.
They call him the righteous wicked, and then everything else that's wicked going on.
I'm considered the spiritual leader for the nation. Some of y'all say we don't need no spiritual leader, but you a Muslim and all this other stuff, so we don't need a spiritual leader. Wait the Iman at? I'm that too. I'm the Imam, the Guru, the Rabbi, the Reverend Boy, you know what I'm saying? The Pope, I'm all those. I'm high level. I'm bringing it to the world.
Yeah, man.
Universally. That's why they said we was in a cult. I want to clear that up now, y'all. That's why they said the Zulu Nation was a cult, because me and a few other brothers, we decided to get together and pour libations. We decided to make it Sunday to be the meeting of the mind, something spiritual, instead of partying all night like a vampire at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun finna come up. Vampires out in New York all night. And we get there and people that travel all over the world and they know Zulu means people of the heavens, and we don't have nothing spiritual for them yet. We must create our own stuff. Our logos mean something. We got books. We got Zulu infinity lessons. We have all this spiritual stuff that been since the conception of the nation. Ain't that powerful? That we had lessons, and they were taught through hip hop. They were taught through the music and the culture and the dance and the expression through ciphers. And if you wipe the Zulu Nation out, you wipe out the lessons. This is where everything came together universally. This is where all black culture came together universally into hip hop culture. See, we don't want to talk like that. So-called hip-hop scholars, y'all don't want to talk like that. The Lord Jamals and all, y'all don't talk like that.
Say none of that, brother.
Y'all don't talk like that. Everybody's set on one thing. No, it's a universal thing. It's everybody. This is what brought the culture together. You see? So we have to look at it like that. But now it's separated, and that piece of history is missing. So now here it is, this new narrative is being wrote. And the new narrative is the streets. And the heroes is the ones that took out Pac and Biggie, is the ones that sold narcotics all to our people, killed and destroyed millions of people, destroyed them. And they're the new heroes. And these are the ones that in AI, artificial intelligence, we are taught to glorify now. These are the ones we look up to. We look up to the big Meechers and these are heroes. He's doing it. And every time here's a little thing I saw the real Rick Ross. Every time I see him and they say he did it, he kind of cringe a little bit. I don't blame him, because you know what kind of crimes against humanity that is that he did? What he did was crimes against humanity. That wasn't he didn't get rich. He created crimes against humanity.
And everybody glorified, man.
And everybody glorifies that. You don't never talk about the brother that lived next door that was successful and went out and built some computers or created some new kind of invention or runs and leads this kind of corporation or company, who went mining, who was this or that. We don't talk about those kind of brothers and sisters. We only talk about the villains. The villains have become our new heroes. And this is what's modeled through the AI technology, algorithm, through our brains. And this is where we at. Artificial intelligence.
Very tough. Artificially programmed, man.
Is that well said? Or am I saying too much?
Spoken, man.
Is the words too big?
You know?
Think they too much?
It needs to be like that. We gotta start thinking. We gotta start thinking larger, man. We gotta get out the box here, man. You know what I mean? We need to start expanding them out. Every time we start to talk, with a little intelligence, man, they say, "Oh, that's a white thing, man. You're doing this, that, the other."
You can call it what you want to. You call it what you want to. Just make sure you call it
mental expansion, brethren.
And that's like even with the sisters. It's a lot of the artificial intelligence of what a woman's supposed to be in the era we're in. Especially y'all ain't talking about the old women that's trying to act like they 20. Old mommy 40, 50, 60 years old, you try to put on them little girl clothes. Take them clothes off. You know you ain't got no business with that. You go get a BBL, but you don't get your legs fixed if you don't cut that out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way they being programmed.
Yeah.
The thinking process of the harlot.
Wow.
The Jezebel spirit.
Straight up, man.
I meet a lot of them. I encounter a lot of. I got some adventures in my book with that.
It's because it's got to be because that spirit is being pumped out that that artificial demon or whatever we talk about, man, being pumped out into the peoples.
I don't know what it is, but I think they come upon me to destroy me. I have to look at it like that now.
It happened to Solomon, right? At
least
they tried.
It happened. Well, you got to know the story. You got to know the story of Jezebel. Jezebel came to destroy all the prophets of the Most High. She came to ruin those that were from creation. Man. Those that had enlightenment, the Lightwalkers. She came to ruin them.
Stole from them, man. You know what I mean? Killed them and took what they had. Man.
Yeah.
Moved on to the next.
And I've encountered victim. I've encountered some. They be around now.
Yeah.
You know, I've encountered.
Oh, absolutely.
And that energy vampires posing as culture, wearing a mask, and working their black magic that they think can work. How they gonna work and they smell? How they gonna work and they got a stanky soul? How they gonna work that on me? You can't work that. But they working on men. They working on those that fall for it, but they be hoping for your downfall. The game is to come in and wipe you out.
Straight up.
So that you can't talk like this. But I'm shielded by the Most High and their ancestors. Yeah, we're cultic. Lightwalkers. On a Wednesday night, Chris Lyon and Lord Cassius D. And we flying in what we call our ship, the Lightwalker.
The Lightwalker, man. You know what I mean, brother?
It's so bright in here, we got to wear sunglasses. We take these sunglasses off, we can't even see.
You understand? Something serious, my brother.
You see?
Hey, man, it's been another hell of a Wednesday night.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
We're going to end it just like that.
Wrap it up on that good
Peace
note,
to everybody. Don't forget, October 14th. Oh, wait a minute. September 23rd.
That's right, brother.
If y'all want to go on the Paw adventure with us for the Paw fruit down in Salt Creek, this is one you don't miss. We do this every year. It's a good time. We go 2 miles down in the creek for the Paw fruit. It's an adventure. We're going to be leaving out of here. That's on a Saturday. About 10 o'clock.
You say we link up at the garden at 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock, and we get down. It's an all-day trip. We get back about 6.
Yep,
and it's the 23rd. DM us if you want to go. Call me if you got my number. If you really want to go, because you need to be here and be ready. All right? Man. And then October 14th, we have the Green Party Social coming up. That's our herb show. That's what all the healers. This year's Green Party is called the Healers. Yeah, man. And we will have healers on deck. From everything from Reiki to massage therapy to sound healing. You see what I'm saying? To nutrition, to all these things outside. It's going to be free too. Make sure you bring some paper with you. We're going to have plenty of vendors. It's an entrepreneurial fest. Everybody that mess with me, they make stuff. So it's going you'll catch all the great syrups and products you see Ancient Mystic have. Plus you catch out some of my lovely associates and friends who make products, and they make some of the most divine stuff. This is going to be October 14th at 2467 Buchanan Street in Gary, Indiana, at the Mystic Gardens.
And that's also where the link up is for the 23rd.
For the 23rd, yep, as well. Everything links up at the Garden, 2467 Buchanan Street, Gary, Indiana. Get up with us, message us, DM us, flag us down, shoot us a kite, send a bird, send the pigeon with the note on his foot, send the roach with the camera on his back. Just get up with us, all right? And this has been Lightwalkers, Lord Cassius D.
And your brother Chris Lyon.
And next week, we out. Peace.